Hey everybody. I didn't get any scripture together for tonight because I want to do a little more testimony than anything tonight. Not to discount, any word, but something's just telling me, that should be my focus. So for updates, as you can see, I'm pretty nicely dressed and it's only Saturday. I had a couple of events taking place today, so I decided to look a little nice because the other day I finished my project completely. I mean, I've sorted through all my clothes, like stuff I've been putting off for a while. I just knocked it out. I got it done. I got my, writing nook set up, and I am seriously considering going into hermit mode for a while. I really want to get this project done. I'm thinking I'm only going to come out for church and Bible study, and other than that, I'm going to kind of buckle down and focus on that. Like I said, I really have that feeling that something's telling me somebody needs it, so I got to get to it. I'm letting myself get distracted for way too long. And that was a big part of what was going on, in my life a few months ago. I was so easily distracted that I wasn't even thinking about it. It wasn't even on my radar. I let it go. Oh, excuse me. Been a long day. Not a bad day, but a long day. I did come to a decision. I've been kind of getting pulled between two churches. Not that it was ever really a choice. Honestly, my mind was made up. But today I had an experience that kind of really pushed me to make up my mind. I'm not a big fan of unnecessary hierarchy. Don't get me wrong. There's a place for hierarchy. There is. But only in certain things. And other things, all it is gatekeeping to keep people under control. And, this other church, again, I've got nothing bad to say about them. Nice people, good people. So I'm not here to, slander anybody or anything like that. I'm not. But the way they approach the hierarchy of how they, operate their faith, what they allow and don't allow, does not sit well with me. So I'm going to stick to my local church. I'm definitely more comfortable there. Don't get me wrong. Again, not saying anything bad because both have been very welcoming. Both are very friendly and accommodating. Again, I cannot say anything bad about them. That is strictly my personal preference thing. Is I'm one of them ADHD, brain people that just hierarchy has to serve a purpose, aside from gatekeeping. And if all it serves is gatekeeping, then I can't get behind it. And that's all I see from what was described to me is and I commented the other day, I keep seeing all these ads on Facebook for the school program saying, oh, well, if you have religious discussions, we want you. Hey, if you talk, about faith, about building faith, we want you. And I looked into it because obviously, I fall into that category. And it's just another one of those monthly subscriptions. Just today, I was setting up my writing computer and I set up a playlist in the background, some inspirational music, and the MP3 player came up, and wouldn't you know it, I remember when an MP3 player either used to be free or you paid like $5 to $10 for it and you had it for life. Now it's $10 a month. When are we going to put an end to this? When are we people going to say enough is enough? You need to knock this off. Again, I will never use Microsoft Word again because twice in my life, I paid full price for a lifelong license to it, and I still, to use it, had to pay a monthly subscription. Get bent. You can keep it. I'm tired of this, everything being turned into a monthly subscription thing. It's ridiculous. Years ago in the 90s when I was a gamer, that's what made me give up games, because not only did I have to pay for the console, buy the game, and pay for the internet at the house, but then I had to pay extra for their server to play the game? No, that's BS. That's money grubbing. That's too much. And I said, this will never stand. And people surprised me because they let it fly. Now that's how every game is. Like, people really like to paint themselves in the corners. They sell us convenience and everybody eats it up. And they make it inconvenient and like, oh, that's just the way it is. And they're afraid to give up, live without things. No. We got to show these people, like, no, I'll live without before I put up with your crap anymore. Again, that's principles. That's integrity. Here's a line. I'm not going to cross that. I don't care what the consequences are. I don't care what you threaten me with. I do not cross this line. That's what it's all about. And too many people are tap dancing on that line, trying to please others or seek their own comfort. Let me tell you, over the last couple of years, I've learned to live without a lot of things. I mean, a lot. And you know what I found? I'm better off without it. And I mean that sincerely. Everything I've lost over the last few years, a couple things do I miss? If I'm being honest, yes, I do. But again, that's the flesh part of me. That's I want it because I liked it, not because I needed it. That includes habits, that includes actual physical items, that includes people. Because a lot of things I was involved in was distractions, keeping me from my purpose. And I kind of had this jolt in the last few months that knocked me out of it and got me back on track. And now I'm at it full force. I'm not backing down. I'm already planning ahead, but regardless, I don't need to go into detail on that. But yeah, things are definitely moving forward on that front. The most important thing, be of service to one another. Okay? Several reasons. That's why I say this is the most important thing. One, biblically, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to look out for one another. Those who can't take care of themselves, we're supposed to help take care of them. That's what we are called to do. All right? And again, the powers that be that control this world, we know where that comes from. They want us separated. They want us divided. So the more we act as a community, the more we work together, the more we're working against what they're trying to do with us. And just the simple fact of no single person was meant to take on everything by themselves. They weren't. We just weren't designed that way. We were designed to share the load with one another. And they've got us trained to be so individualistic that we're running ourselves into the ground needlessly. Ever since that first heart attack, it really showed me the way this world really runs. And how easily you can go from being on top of the world to being buried under it. And the whole point is obedience. Toe the line. Do it this way. You have no other option. And the second that's not an option for you, you're discarded. You're outcast. That's not how it's supposed to be, folks. You know, people go on these rants talking about criminals. Guess what? Jesus said all the time, go be with the prisoners, spend time with them, talk with them. And my own testimony is, yeah, are there some unsavory characters in there? Yes, but they're the smaller percentage. The bigger percentage is people that, yes, they made mistakes. Yes, they've done things wrong. But being in there, they're like, I really do see the error. They have genuine accountability. They make genuine repentance. And let me tell you, those people are the ones that turn into God's fiercest warriors. Everybody I know that's like really, really like powerful in their faith, like really will stand 10 toes down on stuff, almost all of them have had some kind of past to that effect. It's like the saying goes, religion is for people that don't want to go to hell. Spirituality is for those that have already been through it. There's definitely truth to that. I've been through a few different versions of hell. And let me tell you, I don't want to go anywhere near it. I've touched about as close enough as I want to get. And that's why I'm going to do everything in my power to not end up there. That's why I spend the time doing, the research that I do and sharing it with people. It's very important. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it's not all doom and gloom. Again, there's that discernment. Everybody is trained to be stuck in this black and white thinking, and that's not how the world works. I should say that is how the world works, but that's not how reality works. There's a difference. But again, in all seriousness, just go out there, look out for one another. Acts of service. And it don't even have to be something big. It can be as simple as holding the door, giving a kind word, offering a smile to somebody who looks like they're having a bad day. Anything you can do to help uplift somebody and make their life just a little bit better, do it. Again, you don't even have to bend over backwards to do it. Take an opportunity to do something small. Trust me, it'll build up. My testimony is I sit here all the time talking about, accountability and owning up to things. And it's not because I want to be hard on people. It's because that's how it works. Right? And I can also say that by putting myself through that process, by really owning up to the things, that I've been doing wrong and trying to genuinely correct them, it has made my life so much better. And I stand on that. And that, again, is why I do what I'm doing here, to give that message to everybody. Like, my testimony is, all that stuff that you're running and hiding from that you don't want to face, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's not easy. It's going to be difficult to deal with a lot of it. But once you do, the difference in the quality of life is just phenomenal. But again, that's my testimony. If I ever sat down and told the whole story of things I've been through, we'd be here a while, and I'd lose people like partway through because they're like, "There's no way." I don't believe it because, again, I do not present, the things I've been through. But that's because I make a choice. We always have a choice. Right? We don't have a choice in the bad things that happen to us, but we have a choice in how we react to them and how we let them affect us and how we let them change our character for moving forward. We can either take the bad stuff and have it change us for the better, or we can sit and wallow in it and be stuck. And unfortunately, a lot of people are picking the latter. You know, I was just commenting earlier today, talking to somebody about it, like, having principles is like a superpower in itself because so many people don't utilize it anymore in this world. There's something I've opted out of as far as, society on certain levels. If I could bow out of it, I did. The timing was great to surrender my license. Because let me tell you, as much as it sucks not being able to get around on my own power like I'm used to, that's one minor inconvenience compared to I'm not getting screwed by insurance companies anymore. I'm not getting hounded. Oh, you got to pay extra money for this. You got to pay extra money for that. You got to pay extra money for that. No, stuff it. I got tired of the way things are going. And I opted out. And I recommend it for everybody else. That's how we get the message across. Enough's enough. When everybody decides to put their foot down, hey, we're not playing this jacked up game you got going anymore, that's when it'll change and not a minute before. And that's the thing people need to realize. And again, it doesn't have to be some outrageous coup. It really doesn't. Like I said, just not stop accepting the unacceptable. Don't participate in things that don't serve your best interest. Instead, again, fight the system. And I don't mean, by going out and doing anything crazy. I mean small acts of service. Help your neighbor out. Help each other keep afloat. Help each other get by in day-to-day life. That's it. It's that simple. It really is. Remember my motto, kiss life. Keep it super simple. Look at how much stuff we depend on today that our predecessors didn't even have access to. What have we let ourselves become? We really are cattle, just going down the chute. It's the illusion of choice. You might think, oh, well, there's different brands here. Yeah, no, they all got the same parent companies. You trace the paperwork backing up, it all goes back to the same pockets. And those few sociopaths are getting to decide how the rest of us live. And I, for one, have had enough of it. Why do we let the 1% dictate what happens to the rest? That doesn't even make sense. The only reason they're where they're at is because of the little guys like us, the ones that they shit on all the time. Yeah, I know, I haven't used language like that in a while, but I'm really passionate on this one. I see things that people refuse to acknowledge, and I don't know why. I mean, are people really that cowardly? That's the only thing that makes sense to me. They're either cowardly, corrupt, or stupid. Take your pick. You're cowardly enough that you're afraid to do something about it. You're corrupt enough that you want to be involved in the same system that you should be fighting against. Or you're too stupid to see what's really going on around you. That's the only options as to why people aren't opting out. And not a single one is good. Pick your poison. But again, everybody's, brainwashed and indoctrinated. No, this is the system. This is how we have to live. No, we don't. But again, that's why they want us divided. That's what keeps, the system going the way it is, because we're so divided, and instead of standing together and doing something about it, we just let it go as is. That is self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah, we can't change it because we don't let ourselves. We don't even try in most cases. And again, doing something is as simple as just bowing out and saying, you know what? I'm not doing it no more. I'm tired of it. It really is that simple. And people will sit and fret and argue with me. Well, how are you going to handle this? Or how are you going to live without that? You know what? I've spent the last 5 years living without a lot of stuff. It can be done. Are you happy about it? Not really, but you can do it. But enough is enough. What are we waiting for? Till it's too late? Till we're literally in the chutes and have no escape? Is that when everybody's going to wake up and say, hey, maybe this isn't a great idea? I think one of the greatest tricks they pulled right now is the way everybody is so politically divided. Left wing, right wing, same vulture. Same corporate masters. Same corporate entities being served by the government, no matter who you vote in. Do you think you would even have them to vote on if they weren't going to play ball? Really, think about that. And we just sit around and accept it. Because again, we feed into it. We have become our own wardens. That's all America is, a prison with shopping privileges. It's ironic because they said, when they formed America, no debtor's prison. No, America is the debtor's prison. But again, people just bury their heads in the sand, pretend, if I don't acknowledge it, it'll just go away. Which you're partially true. Because if you don't feed it your energy, you will starve it out. Unfortunately, you're not starving it the right way. Because people are still playing along, feeding into the system. You don't starve it until you step out. But again, everybody's too afraid to. Too afraid to live without. Okay, you can live without a little now or live without a lot later. Your choice. Like I was saying the other night, You can learn to read your Bible now, or you can practice dodging fireballs later. It's really what it comes down to. It just frustrates me that people are afraid to open their eyes, they're afraid to open their minds, and they're afraid to open their hearts. Everything that happens is designed to make us close more in on ourselves. Why? Why is that? Why aren't people questioning that more? Is that it just I don't know. Sometimes I feel very alone. It's funny. I used to, when I was a kid, all the cartoons, like you idolize the hero. They teach you good moral lessons. What happened to that? Now instead of doing the right thing, we do the popular thing. We do what makes life easy. We don't care about what's right. What happened to us? Some things people really need to reflect on. Anyway, this is going on, longer than I intended. And again, I didn't even bring scripture tonight. I just wanted to go on this rant. Something was calling me, something was moving me. I wasn't even planning on going on that kind of rant. I was just talking earlier about, gatekeeping and hierarchy and all that, and it just kind of led to, because it's all interconnected. And that's the thing. That's why people like me, I always look for the patterns. I see how things are interconnected. People that I know say, oh, how does that affect me? Directly, it doesn't, but everything affects everybody down the line. That's what quantum entanglement is. It's not about proximity. Because remember, the things you don't fight against for others are coming for you. If you don't stop it when it's happening to somebody else, what makes you think they're not going to do it to you too? Again, apathy is going to be our undoing. Again, like I was saying the other night, you can fake sympathy, but you can't fake empathy. And it scares me how little of it there is in the world, apparently. Because if more people had it, they would understand more about what's wrong. Sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes there's days that, like, again, a great thing is that study. We're studying Jeremiah now. Like, God, why did you give me this battle? Because I'm not ready for it. Obviously, I'm not making any headway on it. But God picks for reasons, so I'm sure it'll come about eventually. Small, consistent actions. That's what I'm doing here. Trying to raise awareness, trying to make a difference. And again, it doesn't even have to be dramatic. It just has to be people starting to work together again, like, we used to. And again, I'm not saying we all got to get together and sing Kumbaya. It's all going to, magically, peace, love, and rainbow is all going to come together. No, it's not how it works. You got to be realistic about it. But the more we're willing to have discussions and come together and put our heads together, the more solutions to problems that cover everybody can come to. And once we take care of those problems, once we're no longer under the thumb of certain problems, we can focus on other things. Again, I say it all the time. Imagine the think tank that we could create. How many things we could change overnight if we just started to work together more often. That's it. That's all it would take. That's why they want Christianity done away with, because that's what it's all about, is community, acts of service for one another, working together, looking out for the little guy. Oh no, can't have that. Why do you think that's the most knocked religion there is? Because it's the one that makes a difference. It's the one they're afraid of. It's the one that has impact. Why do you think they've changed the dating climate? You can't even get couples working together, let alone strangers. Seriously, married couples can't even work together. That's how bad our society has gotten. Why is that? But again, nobody questions it. Nobody thinks about it. They just accept it. It's what it is. And the crappy thing about free will, right? I'm in the minority. I don't want to live that way. Unfortunately, the majority is quite fine with the status quo. Right? And they outweigh me, so that's the world we live in. And it irks me to no end. I don't know, folks. Just think about your life a little more. Think about the things that you don't normally think about. Think about things that you take for granted. And when I say take for granted, I don't mean things you overlook that are good for you. I mean things you overlook that are detrimental and could be better. Again, anything to do with insurance is a legalized scam. There's no other way to put that. Whether it be life insurance, health insurance, auto insurance, home insurance, whatever. If it's got the word insurance tacked in there, it's a scam. Dang, big old moth flying around. But again, we just accept it. They make more laws that make it so we have to accept living that way. You forget, the document starts, we the people. Not we the government. Not we the dictators. Not we the tyrants. We the people. And we lose sight of that. Not we the billionaires. We the people. There's more of us than there are of them. And again, like that speech in A Bug's Life, the day we figure that out, there goes their way of life. But that's why they spend so much money on the propaganda and the brainwashing, and that's why the education system is the way it is. The more indoctrinated we are to keep the status quo going. And again, we march happily down the chute to our own demise. Not a care in the world. You know, people are accepting things at face value that they want to believe. Right? They want to believe bad things about others. And they don't care if it's true or not. They hear it like, yeah, that sounds true. We'll go with that. Without doing that, even a little bit of research to look into it. And again, why is that? Why are we trained to do that? Why are we trained not to ask those questions? Why are we trained to get uncomfortable when other people ask those questions? Do you know how many people probably just already turned away from here because of the stuff I'm talking about tonight? Because that's what they're trained to do. Yes. Trained circus acts. That's it. That's all we are. You know? Anyway, that's enough heavy thoughts for tonight. I'm getting geared up. I need a good message tomorrow. Yeah, like I said, I kind of made a decision. I know where I'll be tomorrow. And again, I do genuinely want to go in hermit mode and focus on what I need to get done. I mean, I'll still do these from time to time as I feel called to do it, but it's not my primary focus. My primary focus is my writing project. That's what needs to get done. That is first and foremost as far as me. But also, not just that, my activity as well, getting more involved. You know, for a long time, I benched myself. I've been sitting on the outskirts of society. It's time to get myself back in there. I mean, yeah, I can send messages like this, but what good's it doing? Not much. I got to go back on the inside. You know, back in the belly of the beast. Sometimes we got to do the things we don't want to do to get the results that we do want. And again, we have been trained for that instant gratification, like, I don't want to deal with that. I'd much rather feel good about this. And again, those fake social justice warriors, they're just doing it for the attention, not because there's actually, I mean, don't get me wrong, there is definitely oppression still going on in the world. It's just people are pointing at the wrong things. And that is by design. We are systematically dumbed down. And if you think I'm nuts for believing that, congratulations, it worked on you. Don't know what else to tell you. I mean, think about it. How much do they spend on not just money, but time and effort do they spend in brainwashing us? How powerful are we really that they got to distract us like that? It's worth a thought, folks. Anywho, again, I babbled on long enough. I'm going to let you go. Looking forward to church tomorrow, and then, like I said, I'm going to go visit, probably for a little bit, family, go see my dad, and then after that, it's going to be focusing on the project. And the only time I'm dipping my head back out is for church involvement, be it church itself or Bible study. Anything else, I'm hermit mode. That's really the way I'm leaning. Because I need to get done. I've had enough of distractions. All right, so keep taking care of yourself. Try and help take care of each other. That's really the biggest thing that makes the difference. All right, I'll see you in the next one.